Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Coming to you from his studio apartment in Toronto, it's the Backyard Variety Tour, featuring your host, Ian Pozz.
That's better. All right, I think we're ready to go. Okay, so what's up, yardies? Thank you for being here. Okay, this is episode 662. Okay, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about streaming services. So, first up we got Netflix. Okay, Netflix. I find it's got too big of a library now. It's too hard to find anything that I haven't seen before or might want to see or might even like. I'd say Netflix used to be a lot better than it is now. So for $13 a month in that realm, Netflix, no. It's oversaturated. Not only that, what is in the library are pretty terrible choices. A lot of this stuff, it's not like it's even any good, it's just that it has a platform to be on. I mean, it sucks to say it, but Netflix is kind of where celebrities go to die, or where celebrities who have died in the public eye get resurged. Now, take Adam Sandler's movies, for instance. Now, they're paying him a boatload of money to do that stuff, but his team's not putting in the same amount of effort as they used to back in the day. They're just getting paid hand over fist, but really, would any of those movies be high quality enough to go into theaters? No, they're not that funny, they're not that quality, and they're not that good. They've just got a platform. They're giving these people a platform again. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's just that the content's not good. Same goes for a lot of the comedians who have specials on Netflix. A lot of them don't deserve it. A lot of them aren't that funny. Like, they're just handing out specials left and right. And they were still not giving them to some of the best comedians who deserved it. Basically all original content now, like mainstream choices for TV and stuff like that, but like big deal. All Netflix original stuff. They actually used to put other people's movies on there at one point. And again, as I've always said, I'm not a huge fan of Netflix. I don't subscribe to Netflix. I don't think it's worth it. But I do like how they're putting a lot of people to work. They invested largely in Toronto. They're still investing largely in Toronto. So even though I don't think the shows are necessarily quality, they're providing a lot of jobs to people, which I think is important. Okay, moving on. As you can see, we got our new flamingo lamp there. Fly, pelican, fly. Okay, next up is a random one, Criterion, the Criterion app. So it's about $15 a month, $134 a year. That's expensive. That's expensive for what it is. You really got to be a movie head to want this channel. It really is for the film nerds. And I mean, the crazy thing is it's even got selections that are too deep for me. I'm looking for a bit more of the surface material Criterion stuff that I'm used to, like Life Aquatic and I don't even know. Or The Player, or Secret Honor, or The Vanishing. Spoorloos. Okay, so here's my beef with Criterion. It's like, why don't you put the entire library out there? Why are you curating it? It's like, if I'm gonna get the Criterion channel, I want it to have the movies available that I want to watch, especially at that price. Okay, so after that is Disney. Disney at about, $9 a month, $90 a year. It's got good selection, nostalgic choices, wholesome choices. But I did find that if you've seen all that stuff, then there's not really much left to do on there. They're not churning out the new stuff all the time. If you've already done the whole, I'm going to go back and watch the movies from my childhood for a nostalgic effect, sure, that's great. That's a lot of fun. But once you go do that, watch the 20, 25 movies, maybe it takes you a couple months or maybe not even. There's really nothing to do on there anymore, unless you have kids. If you have kids, obviously Disney Channel is endless. I mean, kids watch the same movie like 30 times in a row. So I think it is great. I did have a lot of fun going back and watching all those movies from my childhood and the original Star Wars movies from the 70s and 80s and all those Disney movies like Cool Runnings, The Mighty Ducks, The Sandlot, all that stuff. So much fun. But after kind of burning it out after a couple months, it's not really worth anything to me anymore. Maybe once a year I'll get it again and say, I could go for some of these movies again. One classic thing about Disney, though, is that now they have The Simpsons. So that could be a reason to get it for its own right, which I did. Once they got The Simpsons, I got it. I burned through a bunch that I love. But again, then you're kind of just left in a purgatory, nothing new's coming out. You could just keep watching all these old nostalgic movies, which they're great, but you got to move on at some point. They're good in small doses. You can't just There's no sense in just paying for that all the time. Okay, moving on. Next up, we got Crave TV. Crave TV. Okay, Crave TV, not too bad. The most basic package of Crave TV is basically about $10 a month, and the most expensive package is about $30 a month. Now, if you want to get that most expensive package, that's the package really to get. It's super expensive, but it includes HBO, Starz, new movies that come out that are kind of like fresh out of theaters, and then just other random stuff from Crave too. So they do have a wide selection. It's definitely the most expensive out of the bunch, though. It's way overpriced. And I mean, if you're gonna get it, there's really no point in getting it if you're not getting the HBO and all that stuff that comes with it, because there's actually good shows on HBO. You know, the Gemstones, Danny McBride show, Gemstones, if they're coming back. And then obviously it includes the old stuff too, Seinfeld, Curb, all that stuff. It's always good to have Starz. I mean, Starz is kind of the old movies. That's kind of the realm of where I'm sitting. I'm not into too many of the new movies coming out, like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. I may turn that stuff on to turn my brain off while I'm like walking around the house doing other stuff, because I'm just going to kind of laugh at those movies. But Starz I think is good, but again, it's a very expensive package to get. I think even if you go for the yearly thing, it's still gonna be like $200 and something. But like I said, I think it's got one of the best selections for the average moviegoer. You know, for someone who's into a lot of the deeper stuff like me, I've seen a lot of the movies. So the most I could do is kind of watch them again and again, which I've kind of done already. So I'm looking for more options, deeper options, stuff like that, a little bit more rare stuff. But this is definitely one of the widest selections. Definitely better than Netflix, although it's much more expensive. So pick your poison. Okay, now to one of my favorite selections, Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime, it's coming in at about $8 a month or so. To me, it's got the best selections. It's got the widest selection, it's got the most quality selection, it's got new stuff, it's got old stuff, it's got different stuff, weird stuff, all sorts of stuff on Amazon Prime. It's cheap. You can do add-ons if you want. You can search the add-ons like MGM, Starz. Here's the bonus about Amazon Prime. If you don't want to get it through Crave, the Starz channel, because Crave is so expensive, you can add it on and get those same movies through Amazon Prime, through the Starz sub-subscription. I think it's like $5.99 a month extra add-on. So between that and your regular Amazon Prime, that adds up to basically what a regular Netflix subscription is. I mean, Amazon Prime even has other channels like MGM, get some deeper classics, and then another sub-subscription called Hollywood Suite, which has 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s movies. So it just opens up this huge wide selection, and I think both of those are only like $2.99 or $3.99 each. So essentially with Amazon Prime, you could build up to almost $20 and just get like the widest and best selection of stuff possibly out there. They also have Shudder if you're into horror movies. I only kind of do that around Halloween, obviously, but they also have that too. And they've got a couple other options on there. It's just not so much movies. They have some TV options and things like that. Yeah, so Amazon Prime Video, the add-ons are cheap, the selections are great, the quality of selections are great. That's a top-notch one for sure. That's your best option if you're paying. Okay, and then last but not least, if you're not paying, obviously YouTube. YouTube's one of the best options out there, and YouTube's free unless you want to pay for that, like skip the ads or whatever. And some people do that, but not me. I don't mind listening or not paying attention to a minute ad that has to go by. So yeah, YouTube's the best platform to me. It's free. There's no censorship. That's where a lot of people are doing their video podcasts on there. Some of my favorite video podcasts that I take inspiration from, like About Last Night with Adam Ray, Take Your Shoes Off with Rick Glassman, The Lion's Den Pod. These are ones, obviously Spittin' Chicklets once in a while. Whenever they throw a video up, even they threw up a video on YouTube because they got away from Twitch and all that other jazz, all those other distractions. Anybody who knows, YouTube is the go-to place for throwing up your videos. I mean, the cool thing about YouTube is they have a super wide selection, but you yourself can be a creator and throw up your own videos. But not only that, their selection is far and wide. They've got all sorts of stuff from VHS movies back in the day, like old clips, old news things, old stand-up, anything, new stuff, whatever you're into, it's on YouTube. It's also got music, podcast, music videos, everything you want. The other great thing about YouTube, so this is where Netflix screwed up. They didn't take some of the best comedians out there and gave them a special. So these comedians put their specials free on YouTube, hour-long specials. Sam Morrill, Mark Normand, Jay Larson, 3 hilarious comedians, YouTube specials on there, free. I think they all have like 1 million to 4 million views. Huge mistake by Netflix. These are like to me, these are some of the funniest guys out there. So it's a great place to market yourself, essentially putting up your stuff. You know, if you have a fan base, they'll find you, they're gonna follow you, and you can build up a name for yourself through YouTube. You can even make money for yourself if you monetize. If you have enough of a fan base and subscriptions and watch minutes, they're called, you can monetize. Like, I'm nowhere near monetization because my numbers are so low, just to give you an idea. I'm like 10 years away from making any money. And then even when I did start to make some money, the monetization is going to be very low unless you're into the 100,000s plus for subscribers, and views and all that stuff. Yeah, so if you're willing to pay, you know, I'd say Amazon Prime's your best bet, and if you don't want to, YouTube's your best bet. And next up, I'd say is Crave, right behind Amazon Prime Video. And then, you know, it's really a toss-up between Netflix and Disney. I might take Disney over Netflix because Netflix is all just original stuff, and Disney has got the mix of stuff, at least plus The Simpsons, so that's a huge bonus there. So I think that'd be the order, folks. Hope you like this episode of these streaming services, and hope you like the Pelican Fly. We'll see you next time.